Welcome to Radio 64, where we play remixes of the music video games have provided us over the decades. Many of these tracks can be found at the website Overclocked Remix at ocremix.org. I'm Eric Mickles, also known online as duskvstweak, your host for today's episode. First up is a recent inclusion to the Overclocked Remix site for a game I had not even heard of until this remix was released. The source track is from the game XGIII, Extreme G Racing, which is a PS2 futuristic racing game that I've had no experience with. When I was getting the song ready for the show, I decided to look it up, and how did I miss this game? It looks like it would have made my F-Zero loving heart so happy on the PS2. I mean, it's from 2001, but it still looks pretty good. I might have to find myself a copy of it. Yeah, I have no actual experience with this song. This is a remix of the menu theme from XGIII, Extreme G Racing by Acclaim. Synesthetics is the remixer, and the track is called Hypersonic. So I think this has a really cool electronica feel. It reminds me a bit of The Matrix, a little bit of a Crystal Method. So anything that reminds me of The Matrix is doing a good job. So our first track tonight is Hypersonic by Synesthetics from ocremix.org. That was Hypersonic by Synthetics from ocremix.org. That's some cool stuff. Seriously, I need to find myself a copy of this XGIII. Seems like it had favorable reviews. I really don't know how I missed it, but I did. My loss, it looks like. Next track on today's playlist is from Chrono. The song is called If I Could, Synthwave Mix by Jorito and JoyDreamer. It's a remix of the tracks Reminiscence and Unerasable Memory from Chrono by Yasunori Matsuda. This is from a fairly recent Overclocked remix album called Chronopolis, music inspired by Chrono. It's a really good album. I really enjoyed this one. It hit all the right buttons, I think, and this track specifically nails this very cool synth pop sound that reminds me a bit of a Real Human or Hero from the movie Driver with Ryan Gosling, which I thought was a really cool song in that movie. And that's all I can think about when I'm listening to If I Could Synthwave Mix. It just has that super cool feel. And Chrono Cross, that was a really fun game. I played it before I played Chrono Trigger. I didn't even know what Chrono Trigger was when I was playing Chrono Cross, and I had a good time with it, even though I didn't really know what was happening. It was probably the first non-Final Fantasy JRPG I played, and I got all the way to the end of it and enjoyed the whole thing. I don't know, it's dense and it has so many characters, so I don't know how many times I'm ever going to replay it, if ever. But I still enjoy the soundtrack, and this remix just reminds me of how good those tunes were. So, without further ado, If I Could, Synthwave Mix by Jorito and JoyDreamer from ocremix.org.
Drifting so far away.
That was If I Could, Synthwave mix by Jorito and JoyDreamer from OCRemix.org. We have a lot of album tracks, actually. Overclocked Remix puts out a lot of albums on a regular basis where they remix the entire soundtrack of a game, giving each track, or at least almost every track, its own remix. The newest album out right now, as of time of recording, let me date this episode by putting a timestamp here. The newest album is called Songs of the Sirens, a Link's Awakening remix. Just in time for the Link's Awakening remake that everybody seems to be loving. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm probably going to stick with the Game Boy version myself, just because it's what I grew up with, and it looks so good to me still, and it keeps that dream quality that I really like. But if you're enjoying the new remake, then I'm happy. I'm glad you're playing Link's Awakening. It's one of the best Zelda games, one of the best games, and this album is it's pretty good. So the track I picked for today from this Link's Awakening album is called Head South to the Beach, and the track is by Tom James featuring PROTO, and it's originally remixed from When Link First Wakes and Koholint Island. The original Link's Awakening soundtrack was by Kozu Ishikawa and Manako Hamano. This track has a very nice acoustic feel. I think it keeps that relaxed vibe that I remember from Link's Awakening. I remember Link's Awakening just really nailing that dreamlike state with a lot of quirk. It was a very calm place. Even though the island was full of like dangerous enemies that were always trying to kill me, I always felt relaxed while playing Link's Awakening. I think this track gets that vibe. So it's called Head South to the Beach by Tom James featuring PROTO from the album Songs of the Sirens from OCRemix.org. That was Head South to the Beach by Tom Janes, featuring Protodome from OCRemix.org. Another game I have no experience with, Cannon Fodder. Wikipedia says Cannon Fodder is a series of war-themed action games developed by Sensible Software. No idea. Have never, ever heard of this game until recently. DJ Pretzel and Larry OG of Overclocked Remix were actually on the Sound of Play podcast over on the Kane and Rinse network, and one of the tracks they brought to play was this song. It's called Cannon Straits by fredrikd. The remix from the source Narcissus by John Hare and Richard Joseph from the game Cannon Fodder. It's going for that Dire Straits sound, and it just nails that thing, especially Sultans of Swing. When I first heard them play this on the Sound of Play episode, I realized I had never heard this remix before, and that it was great. That saxophone is fantastic, and I feel like if you started Cannon Straits along with Sultans of Swing at the same time, you'd have a hard time which is which at the beginning. This is a really cool classic rock take on a video game track called Cannon Straits by fredrikd from OCRemix.org. That was Canon Straits by fredrikd from ocremix.org. More saxophone, please. All the time. Next up is another song from another album. This album is called Super Mario RPG Window to the Stars, a remix album of the game Super Mario RPG, which I actually only just recently played all the way through using my Super NES Mini. It was a fun time. I had played it a little bit when I was younger, but I didn't get very far. I had to return the game to a friend, so I never got to beat it. But this time I played it all the way through, and it's good stuff. The Smithy fight at the end was a pain in the butt, but I also thought it had the coolest track of the game. The track I chose from this album is called Inside Smithy's Head, arranged by Zircon. The original track was called Fight Against Smithy by Yoko Shimomura, who, I mean, she did the Street Fighter soundtrack. So, you know, if that was the only thing she had ever done, she would have been a legend already. But she did the Super Mario RPG soundtrack. She did the Kingdom Hearts series. She is a legend. So Inside Smithy's Head by Zircon, really cool techno-y track based on fighting that stupid Smithy boss in Mario RPG inside that sword. Up now, Inside Smithy's Head by Zircon from the Super Mario RPG Window to the Stars album from ocremix.org. That was Inside Smithy's Head by Zircon from OCRemix.org. The next song is a rap song, actually. It's from PaRappa the Rappa. That is a hip-hop music game I only ever played like 2 levels of, because I didn't have a PS1, and I still have not played the whole game. I think I had a demo of the second one where you're working behind the counter of basically a McDonald's. The demo was fun, but I never got PaRappa the Rappa 2. But this is from PaRappa the Rappa 1. A lot of people who did the original soundtrack. Masaya Matsuru, Ronnie Greenblatt, Turtle and Dynamo Laboratory, and Yoshihisa Suzuki. The tracks that are being used here are called All Masters Rap, Cheap Cheap, The Cooking Chicken Rap, and Chop Chop Master Onions Rap. I do know Chop Chop Master Onions Rap. That one I'm familiar with. This remix is by Navi, and it's called Cookin' with Fire. And the reason I love this track is because the lyrics in this song are absolutely fantastic. It's all about food and being a chef and cooking, and it is just... It's mind-blowing how on point all the lyrics are. It's ridiculous. Everything has a double meaning. Everything has the cooking meaning and the rap battle meaning. And it's absolutely mind-blowing, the creativity that's on hand here. Right now, Cooking with Fire by Navi from OCRemix.org.
At a young age, cooking with kerosene, pan-fried apple green recipes and magazines. Top chef before home ec developed his own tech to keep the dough fresh and keep the flow wet and keep the stove running. Deliver hot raps, had to preheat the oven. Word got around, other chefs were summoned, but someone stole the whole book and left the kid with nothing. He got jaded fast. First showcase might have been the last. Forecast, icy. Fire's not pretty if it leads to meltdown in the chocolate city. But it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Cause it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Rematch, they all went livid. Back on the scene, no props or gimmicks or obnoxious microwave toxic dinners. It's the Whole Food certified slop apprentice. Lines so sweet they could drop a dentist. Homebrew king when he topped the Guinness. Whoa, stop a minute. He's skipping through his life in that old kitchen, pushing to the limit. He let that percolate. Made a new track, wasn't worth the plate. Behind his back, new beef and creased steaks. Hot shot foes saw time to hate. Caught him at a demo of a Ginsu blade. Waylaid, a salt and pepper spray. Took the bread made plus the grade A green that he grew with his hands and the money he saved. But it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Cause it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Kick, punch, they found him bleeding. Stewing in the kitchen, boiling pot steaming. Hand on a wet stone, blade tip gleaming. Hurt me, I'm gonna cold turkey these demons. Seething, not seen clearly, nearly poisoned the fan with his hands so filthy. The bad boy of culinary sciences went and trashed all his appliances. It went south, lost all the hype. Numbness and gout when the stove won't light. Can't taste now, so he rots in waste. Took his name off the menu, top slot disgrace. Moved for a change of pace, ditched the rhyme book. Didn't even try it as an amateur line cook. 10 years drank beer, sank into misery. Fake out, take out, Shawshank imagery. To one day and he's old and gray. That scar on his tongue long faded away. So he tries to spray, surprised when it sizzles. Like, kid, I missed you. Cause it's all in your mind. Air out the fridge and the light will shine. Maybe one more time he can spin those tables. Just another homebrew fable. But it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Cause it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. But it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Cause it's
That was Cookin' with Fire by Navi from ocremix.org. So cool. I don't know how you can do that. There's no way I could write lyrics like that. That's fantastic. So last episode, we played a song from Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest, originally by David Wise, and that was the lava area, which is a pretty... The track I chose was a little melancholic, which I think most of Donkey Kong Country 2 soundtrack is. But one of the more famous tracks from that album, maybe the most famous track I think, is Stickerbrush Symphony, or Bramble's Blast by David Wise. And OceansAndrew has remixed that track, and it is just so energetic. It's zippy, it's bright, it's a full take on a classic. And OceansAndrew is always a reliable remixer. He's done some great tracks before. This one, it just stands out as a really cool remix of one that's been done many times. I'm sure we'll be playing other remixes of Stickerbrush Symphony in the future. This one it finds new ground, and it's exciting, and it feels like it has all the energy at the beginning, and then around the 2-minute mark it finds even more. I was kind of shocked. OceansAndrew was able to put so much energy back into a fairly well-trodden on source tune. But here we go with Stickerbrush by OceansAndrew from ocremix.org. That was Stickerbrush by Oceansandrew from ocremix.org. I don't need to tell anybody listening that Shovel Knight has a fantastic soundtrack to a fantastic game. I only recently played Shovel Knight, and it lived up to his reputation of just being a solid take on the NES action genre platformer, DuckTales, Mega Man, whole field of gaming. It was so fun. It was incredibly colorful. It was exciting. It had some great animations for the bosses, and the soundtrack by Jake Kaufman and Manami Matsume was right on point when it comes to trying to recreate that NES feel. Felt like you were playing a game that maybe got lost during the NES. It has, better technology now and is able to do things the NES couldn't, but it really sent me back to those days of playing on the original Nintendo. This track is called Shovel Power by Jorito. It's a remix of the tracks of Devious Machinations from the Clockwork Tower and Strike the Earth from the Plains of Passage, originally again by Jake Kaufman and Manami Matsume. I'm going to let this song play now. It is called Shovel Power by Jorito from ocremix.org. That was Shovel Power by Jorito from ocremix.org. Xenogears is a JRPG, a Japanese role-playing game that I have had on my list to play forever, and I still haven't gotten to it. I got a PS3 so I could download the digital copy so I could finally do it. I just haven't yet, but I need to get to this game. It has been one that has been glaring at me of my to-do list when it comes to playing these JRPGs. It always has looked so cool. I loved Xenosaga, at least the first one. This is from an album from Overclocked Remix called Humans and Gears, Xenogears Remixed. This track was originally Unstealable Jewel by Yasunori Mitsada, and this track is called When the Smoke Clears by Jeffrey Tosser. It's a very peaceful, relaxing track, very acoustic. It has some woodwinds that I really like. Apparently, it's a live recording. It's the title, When the Smoke Clears, is a great allusion to what this song delivers on in terms of how it makes you feel. It's just this, I just see you walking into a village that's maybe just seen a battle, and you're just looking through the rubble and the smoke, and you're making sure all your loved ones are there, and there's hope in all that, but there's also still this kind of somber tune. It's a really impressive acoustic track from Xenogears. So When the Smoke Clears by Jeffrey Tosser from the album Humans and Gears, Xenogears Remixed from ocremix.org. was When the Smoke Clears by Jeffrey Tosser from ocremix.org. Last track on today's show is from Pokemon Red version. The only version of Pokemon. I had Pokemon Red. My siblings had to share Pokemon Blue, the suckers. But I had Pokemon Red, and I loved it. And I definitely took Charmander as my starter Pokemon. So I lived that Pokemon Red life, and I loved it. I played that game over and over, just going over strategy guides, planning how I would make each team every playthrough. I made sure I mastered that game. This track originally was Battle versus the Gym Leader by Junichi Masuda from Pokemon Red. And I think even if you haven't played the game, you probably recognize this song from the anime or any of the other games like Pokemon Stadium or Smash Brothers. I mean, this is a pretty iconic song. Even if you've never picked up the game Pokemon, there's a good chance you've heard this one. So this song is called Battle for the Badge by Fishy from the album Pokemon The Missing No Tracks. It's just a fun electric rock take on the Gym Leader battle theme from Pokemon Red and Blue. And I don't think I need to introduce this song anymore. So let's listen to Battle for the Badge by Fishy from the Pokemon Missing No Tracks album on ocremix.org. That was Battle for the Badge by Fishy from ocremix.org. Thank you for listening to today's episode. You can find today's recording over on my YouTube page for duskvstweak. I also put up podcast recordings there, some older videos, some Let's Play. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. I put up the episode after it airs on WRAQ 92.7 FM in Angelica, New York. Thank you for listening, whether you're on the radio or on the YouTube. If you have any suggestions or requests, remix-wise, or games that you want to hear remixes for, please let me know. You can find me at duskvstweak on Twitter or again at YouTube, and I will try to find tracks and source tunes that will meet those requests. Let me hear it so I can share it. And I will see you next episode of Radio 64.